that crypto, just like big tech, has been floated and driven by cheap money created by quantitative easing and federal funds interest rates that are extremely low. And so generally speaking, I think it's followed the market indicators of big tech pretty closely over the past year or two. So I think that's what we can expect from crypto, is that the macro indicators that make tech attractive will make it attractive unless there's a large global recession. And if there's a large global recession, then I do think that crypto is an anti-inflation hedge, and it's an anti-poor monetary policy hedge. And so in the world where the recession comes, I think that crypto actually outperforms pretty much almost all other assets, because the whole point of it is to create an alternative financial system that can't go through the types of failures that a global recession would create. So that's my outlook on how things would develop.
Directly on Ethereum, you transact on this layer, right, as a retail user. And that, you do, let's say, thousands and thousands of transactions. And then let's say, for example, Polygon, what we combine all these transactions, batch them in a cryptographic way, and put one transaction on Ethereum. So whereas, you would have paid 1,000 transactions, and 1,000 transactions would have to compete to get this block space. Now only one transaction and some data goes there, which is a condensed form of these hundreds or thousands of transactions, and only now this goes into Ethereum, and that provides you additional scalability benefits. And so much so that I think many of the applications like Aave, SushiSwap, and many others have saved like millions and millions in gas fees by using Polygon, and then they have kept these network effects closer to Ethereum. And yeah, that is the layer 2 scaling, and that's where Polygon and teams like Polygon are trying to scale Ethereum. There are various different ways, different trade-offs of security and decentralization, everything, but that is on the higher level what Polygon are the layer 2 solution.
Well, I think it's a good segue here, and I beg to differ a little bit. From the consumer perspective, they don't really look at what the market is doing and price and so on. They just look at what is a fun game I can engage with, and whether there is now an added benefit of true digital ownership, so I can grow and keep the value and potentially sell my asset, which I couldn't do before. And what we're seeing is basically you need to have a great fun product to engage. That's always the entry point. You need to develop gameplay into those products that will retain the users, and you need to have a good reason to drive the users in initially. So that's what we've been doing essentially with Sandbox, by bringing over 400 brands already, and having just closed the Alpha Season 3, which has been our most successful event to date. We've had the best engagement metric ever, even during pre-FTX, but also during all the so-called crypto winter. We see people like to come to stay over an hour, half an hour to an hour into all those experiences, to explore a different kind of gameplay. And I want to also touch down about we're talking about gaming industry, but more specifically in our case, the Metaverse goes much beyond gaming. It touches all form of entertainment, into music, into fashion, into virtual shows, virtual concert, arts, and so on. So it's even appealed to a broader audience. And what the Metaverse and Sandbox has the capability to is to attract audience beyond the existing market of gamer, to grow that overall market that Yad described as a $200 billion, to reach its next phase. And in a market which is in a recession, people are looking for different ways to entertain themselves if they cannot spend anymore on traveling and so on. And the virtual world with an avatar is a great way to connect with others, to have various activities. And it's even better if their activities can generate rewards, NFTs, that are actually assets they can own, sell, transfer. So overall, I'm very confident that the gaming industry and the Metaverse in general will be very resilient, or even keep growing in the current market condition, as long as we keep providing very entertaining experience, which we do by bringing all those brands in fashion, in gaming. Yeah. We opened Gucci, we opened Kun Agüero, a football player. We had Warner Music, one of the most popular experience. Walking Dead, Care Bear, Smurf, all of those are actually appealing to users who are not familiar familiar with Web3 technology or tokens, and yet are stepping in for the value add of like social interaction and fun.
Well, there's an awful lot going on in the Singularity Net universe, and it really defies concise description. But I mean, at the foundational platform level, we're proceeding rapidly now with the port of Singularity Net platform from Ethereum to Cardano, which there will be multiple stages, but the token converter for the AGIX token from the Ethereum to Cardano version and back, both versions will coexist. The converter will be launched on April 18th, so we finally have a reasonably hard date for that. And then a little while after that, we'll have staking of the AGI ADA tokens, and then the full port of Singularity Net marketplace onto Cardano. So that's sort of in the plumbing of the network, but is still valuable and important.
Concerned. Actually, the way to think of it is that, you know, it's not their token, right? ApeCoin is its own token, and you know, Yuga Labs adopted the token, but it of course started, you could say, through, you know, the drop, basically through the community of Yuga, you could say, but it doesn't end there, right? So, and the whole idea of ApeCoin as a foundation is to expand and grow the metaverse and as an entire space. But then separately, Yuga Labs with the other side is separately making games. So our studio Enway is producing separate games with Yuga Labs, for instance, and that has already been announced. But you know, the details of that, you know, still to be disclosed. But you know, there's many partnerships that they're building on, and gaming really, if you think about it, for this particular generation, is one of the strongest, most powerful forms of distributing culture and distributing sort of media and information.